And just like that, we have reached week 10 of the Borderland Blitz, sponsored by Southwest University. I'm Adrian Ochoa, joined by Rachel Phillips, Sam Harrow-Simowitz, making his return tonight.
I know.
Let's go. Yeah. You enjoy your time off?
Of course, but I'm enjoying the Borderland Blitz more.
Oh, like to
Big
hear
call
that.
right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were telling me before the show.
She'll get upset about it.
Well, it is coming down to the wire as teams are looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. For others, though, they've got their sights on a district title. Our game of the week, taking a look at our starting lineup. We're going to go ahead and start in New Mexico because for teams in the land of enchantment, it's the final week of the regular season already. And in District 3-6A, it was a clash for a district championship between the Las Cruces Bulldogs and the Centennial Hawks.
And then over in Gadsden, New Mexico, the Panthers were looking to make history and win a district title, taking on the Wildcats from Deming.
And later on, we'll head back to El Paso, where the Eastwood Troopers needed just one more win to become the champs in District 1-6A. Could they get it done against the Franklin Cougars?
So here we go, our game of the week, and it really doesn't get any bigger than this. Winner take all, the Las Cruces Bulldogs taking on the Centennial Hawks for the district title in 3-6A. Now, both teams very similar in how their seasons played out this season. They lost their first few games, but then went on massive win streaks. Bulldogs entering the game on a 5-game win streak. Centennial winners of 6 in a row, but there can only be one district champion when all was said and done. In this one, the Field of Dreams, the place to be in the City of the Crosses. There you see Centennial Zayden Davis with quarterback keeper. Hawks up 14-7 in the first quarter, but in the second quarter, Las Cruces going to answer right back. They're going to toss it to Daniel Amaro, and he'll punch his way into the end zone. Bulldogs on the board there, 14-13. The extra point attempt was blocked, but the Hawks going to respond right here. This time they're going to go to the air. Davis to Jesus Barraza, and he'll get the house call. Centennial was up 21-13 at the half. In the fourth quarter, Cruces took the lead 23-21, but Centennial on the attack, as we're going to see right here. The handoff to Barraza, and run, Jesus, run! 62 yards to the house as the Hawks would retake the lead 27-23. They failed on the 2-point conversion try. They would end up tacking on 3 more points with the field goal, and you see it right there. Centennial district champions. Let the celebration begin as the Hawks win it by a final score of 30-23. Let's go ahead and hear from those victorious and district champions, the Centennial Hawks.
You know, I thought we ran the ball well. Defensively, we got stops when we needed to. Their offense has been explosive all year. They've got a good quarterback. They got a good running back, good offensive line, well-coached team, and we just made some plays. I was disappointed at the beginning of the half. We didn't get some first downs and stuff like that, but it was a well-played game, and they're a good football team.
I think it's all just a big harmony between all of us. Like, we do everything for each other. I mean, it doesn't really matter who we play. It doesn't matter anything like that. It's just about us. It's about how much, we love each other. That's what it's all about. So it's all about right there.
But no fear for Las Cruces, though. They're, of course, headed to the playoffs. They'll both find out who they're going to play this upcoming weekend when they do the pairings.
Yeah, back-to-back district champs for the Hawks, but now it's all about the playoffs. But that game wasn't the only one where the winner would take home the district title tonight. Gadsden and Deming going head-to-head as well. The Panthers looking for their first district title, guys, and get this, 51 years. But to do it, they'd have to go through a Wildcat team that has had their number since 2016. Full moon out on a Friday night, and that was just the beginning of the Halloween vibes. Deming smelling defeat against the Gadsden Panthers in the 3-5A district title game. Both teams choosing to run often and not so much avail right here, chewing the clock down and well, watch this, leaving these guys to do, well, nothing. But not for long, and not just because the Gadsden Panther was chasing them with a water sprayer, but also because things started heating up on the field. Ryan Alfaro drops back right here, and what does he do? Lofts it up to Adrian Chavez Flores, who takes it another 35 yards to the house to open the scoring with 5:13 left in the half. Extra point would be blocked, and the Panthers say, hey, 2 can play at the passing game. Adrian Munoz to 1 Carlos Enriquez, who takes it out of the air and 40 yards to the end zone right there. Yeah, that's some Panther strength. You see the Panthers showing you just how strong they are.
The guns on that.
Gadsden with 1:30 left in the half, play quick tempo and get into field goal range to take a 10-6 lead at the half. But guys, Deming would hold Gadsden scoreless in the second half to win 12-10. An absolute heartbreaker there for the Panthers. Deming go on to win the district title. Both these two teams heading to playoffs, and like you said, they'll find out who they play pretty soon.
Yeah, still a very successful season from those Gadsden Panthers. They're still headed to the playoffs, so a lot for them to be happy about.
Yeah, and first time they've had a winning season since 2000, so still a massive, massive effort from the Gadsden Panthers.
I'll go ahead and date myself. I was in high school in 2000, so yeah, and we used to play Gadsden actually. These were troopers. Oh,
3 years old. How old were you, Sam?
1.
Ooh.
I was a year old.
We're dating. Okay, I don't mind. Yeah, I was in high school. You guys were babies. Okay, there you
That's
go.
very true.
Well, we'll go ahead and bring it back across state lines and turn our attention to District 1-6A. The Eastwood Troopers are undefeated in district play, a perfect 6-0. We'll save that for later. He's jumping ahead here. A perfect 6-0 were the Eastwood Troopers. A win tonight, though, against Franklin, and the Troopers would be the outright district champs. Let's go to my old stomping grounds we go. Troopers walking in arm in arm, and in the first quarter here, the Troop come out swinging. Evan Minjarez to Rudy Garcia for the touchdown strike right here, and yeah, take a bow, young man. With the lights, with the lights flashing and everything. Eastwood on the board first, 7-0. Then on their next drive, Minhad is going to go to the air once again. He'll find a wide open Evan Macias, but he's going to have to do some extra work to take it to the house. Fights off a defender. Troopers go up 14-0. Now Minhades, as you saw, he can do it through the air. He can also do it on the ground as well. Minhades with the quarterback keeper, showing off the speed. Finally going to get taken down inside the red zone. Few plays later, Minhades going to finish it off here with the keeper, gets the house call. Eastwood up 21-0. You thought this was going to be a rout, but the Cougars finally wake up. After a blocked punt, they have good field position right here. Shea Smith with the keeper, and he will not be denied as the Cougars finally on the board there. Yeah, trucked them down there, made it 21-7. Franklin still had some work to do, but they would make a game of this. As you see the final score right there, the Eastwood Troopers get the win by final score of 38-31. The Troopers, the outright District 1-6A champions. Congratulations to the Troopers. Now we can do it. Let's do this now. There we go. There it is.
That was the best one we've had all year.
There it is. Trooper clap.
We're heading on over to Montwood now after a tough loss to those Eastwood Troopers last week. The Rams looking to get back in the win column. And now here's El Dorado with the ball. They're going to take it down, and Ryan Estrada, he's going to get the first points of the game, and it is just going to be excitement there from the Aztec fans. But Montwood going to respond right back with Michael Southern with a long pass to Gio Varela for the touchdown, and he's going to waltz right in full stride, tying it up right there. But El Dorado going to answer right back. Jadarius Sanders passing it to Albert Rabbit for an Aztecs touchdown. That's going to make it 14-7. But then Montwood handed the ball off to Tim Rosales, and he will go right up the gut. Montwood taking this by 20, 41-21.
Good bounce back for the Rams, as of course, they're currently in second place of the district standings, right behind those Troopers there.
Yeah, lots happening in 6A, but turning to District 1, 5A Division 1, the Parkland Matadors and the Hanks Knights both came into tonight's game in a must-win situation. Both are currently at the bottom of the district standings with a 1-2 district record, so a win would certainly help in staying in the playoff picture. Senior night at Parkland High right here. Matt's running out of the tunnel on the first play of the game. Hanks Jude Blanco receives a 60-yard bomb for the Knights' first touchdown. He is just cruising to the end zone, doing a little hop there. 7-0, the Knights go up. But guys, this game, as we said, both teams, a lot on the line right here. You knew Parkland were gonna have to have an answer. Here come the Matadors. Eric Ortiz for the Matadors fakes the handoff and brings it in himself for the touchdown, staying on his feet all the way. That ties it at 7 apiece, and looks like we've got
nice dance moves there.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a game on our hands, as well as some dance moves on our hands. And Parkland win 38-34.
Now heading over to Bel Air, the Highlanders sitting at 2-1, looking for their third win in district play. Taking on a Horizon team, still looking for their first district win. Now Bel Air was up 19-0. This is 4th and 10, and Robert Rodriguez, the Scorpion quarterback, picks it up with his legs. But then 4 plays later, this is 4th and 13, going for it on another 4th down in the third quarter, and the Highlanders sack Rodriguez as the Scorpions turn it over on downs, and the Highlander faithful are loving that. And they're also getting some free t-shirts, which always makes everyone
Did you get one?
a little, I wish. But then here is Noah Moreno, number 8, running down the sideline, looking like Lamar Jackson at Louisville. And he's going to make it 26-0. And they would really put on the burners because the final in this one would put it, well, that's a 50-burger, 54-0 for the Highlanders. And now going over to Del Valle, the Conquistadors on the road today. They entered this game 2-1 in district. They're playing East. Oh, you know what? I'm struggling reading sometimes, guys. This is a late night. They're over visiting East Letta this evening. Jake Fetty is going to hit Jonathan Estrada, but he loses the ball. And the Indians fall on it, and it gets the crowd pumping because there was a lot of defense. Not as much scoring in the first quarter as we thought we were going to see. Actually 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. This is 4th and goal. Fetty's going to try to take it himself, and he gets stuck at the 2-yard line. Tried to lower the shoulder, but the Indian defense was too much there. The crowd and the band loving it. Now, Fetty, start of the second quarter. He's going to launch one deep, trying to get something going towards the goal line, and jumps up. Gets up about 3 feet in the air. Another turnover for the Indians, but they punted on every single drive. No first downs for the Indians in all the drives I saw. And then Juan Archuleta, he is going to trot in, and the first score of the game came about 10 minutes into the second quarter. Del Valle winning this one in a final of 27-16.
Yeah, those Conquistadors. That's Jerry Nahara, a Del Valle alum, back there, in case he's very excited. But the Conquistadores, though, that was a scare there that they got from the Indians.
And you know, second week in a row, they've kind of had a slow start, but that's what good teams do. If they're able to hold on and keep the win, and we're seeing that from Del Valle week in, week out, they now clinch a share at least of the district title. If they win next week, they'll have it outright. But right now, Del Valle in prime spot.
4-0 in district play of Los Conquistadores. Well, we got plenty more to come. After the break, we're going to turn our attention to District 158, Division 2. Check in with the Chapin Huskies as they played host to the El Paso Tigers. We'll also see what happened in the game between Andrews versus Burgess. Both those teams needed a district win tonight. And then in District 1-4A, we'll turn our attention to the Austin Panthers. Could they snap Bowie's 7-game win streak? That's after the break.
Let's grab some time at Peter Piper Pizza for some big wins, some birthday wishes, and some delicious scratch-made pizza. Here, we help make moments that are made to be shared. Like the return of our extreme pepperoni pizza, large, made from scratch and loaded with the tastiest sliced and diced pepperonis, just $14.99. Peter Piper Pizza, pizza made fresh, families made happy.
A person can feel worthless. A person can feel alone. A person can feel not loved. A person can feel not part of a group. It's a lot of things that can drive someone to suicide. Every day you wake up, God put his breath in your lungs and a beat in your heart. As long as you continue to wake up with a breath in your lungs and beat in your heart, you woke up on purpose with a purpose. So there's no reason why you need to commit suicide, because you have a purpose in life. If you woke up, that means your job is not done yet.
Rise and shine, El Paso. We've got news for you.
Thank you for starting your day with us.
We're the first with breaking news.
We have breaking news developing out of City Hall,
including live updates.
This just in from officials moments ago.
With your hour-by-hour future track forecast.
I'm tracking comfortable temperatures on the way to school.
And the most up-to-date traffic track report.
All lanes are now open.
Every 7 minutes. With all the latest information to help you start your day the right way. Tune in to Good Morning El Paso. Weekdays starting at 4:30 a.m. Only on ABC 7.
Hills marching band, and you know, they were in the news this week because they qualified for state, and I saw that performance last night. Just amazing, really amazing. So congratulations to the Spartans and also to the Coronado marching band as well, because they also qualified for state. It is very hard to qualify for state.
No, I have no idea. I cannot play
I was a band nerd at Eastwood. We never qualified for state. We made it to the area round. As far as we would get, and it's very difficult. You only get like 1 or 2 teams, bands from El Paso to make it to the state.
I have absolutely no musical talent, so every time I'm at a halftime show, I'm loving every second of it.
My mother's whole side of the family is like obsessed with drum corps and bands. My aunt and my uncle go to the college championship in Indianapolis every year, so big drum corps family on one part of my family. So love it.
Well, we could talk about music all day long, but let's talk about some football now. This is a high school football show, right? We'll turn to District 1 5A Division 2. The Canateo Eagles are a perfect 3-0 in district play and are on the fast track toward a district title. Standing in their way tonight, the Jefferson Silver Foxes. Jefferson's still looking for their first win in district, but the Foxes were more focused on fighting with each other.
What's going on there? Oh, look, they're happy now.
Unlike the Canateo Eagles, who had their eyes on the prize, up 30-0 at the half, and they keep tacking them on. Backup QB Matthew Gasker with the toss to Shai Alba, who dodges around a couple and into the end zone. That one has got the Eagles up and not flying, but dancing. Check the moves. But Blink,
they've been watching Zach.
Blink did miss the moves on the field too. This time Gasker keeps it himself, busting through some guys and into the end zone with the reach. Yeah.
Money.
It's money, folks. No deflated Eagles out here as they cruise to a 51-0 win and secure at least a share of the district title under head coach Scott Brooks.
Over at Urban High School tonight, it was the El Paso Tigers taking on the Chapin Huskies. Chapin looking to bounce back after losing to Canateo last week, but the Huskies, they certainly bounced back. They're up 45-0 at the half, and they would just keep that going against the Tigers. And Omari Rich takes the handoff, and he's going to run that in there. That's going to make it 52-0. Final score, 66-7. So Huskies all over the Tigers tonight.
And bounce back for those Huskies. Well, we go to Burgess High School, where everyone was having a flipping good time. That is very hard to do there, the color guard there. Mustangs playing host to the Andrews Eagles. 2 teams in need of a district win to stay in the playoff hunt. You see in the second quarter right here, Burgess up 10-7. Mustangs defense showing their muscle, but Andrews trying to get the run game going. They were sticking with it. The give to Michael Taylor. And Taylor making moves and busting loose there. A nice pickup by Taylor. But every time the Eagles got close to the end zone there, they would hold the line. The Burgess defense holding the line. And just before the half, Andrus finally would find Pater, Jaden Urbina. He's going to lay it out to Eric Blutcher there for the touchdown.
Sweet play of the week winner for the week.
Yes.
In again for another touchdown.
It was the cupcake fuel. Jaden to Eric connection there. Andrus would take the lead 14-10. That would be the score at the half. In the end, Andrus would score a touchdown late in the fourth quarter to take back the lead and secure the win. Andrus, a 4-point lead with a 4-point win today, 28-24. And with that, we're going to take a little time out here and talk about our War of the Week. Ready to go?
Always.
Yeah, sorry, we were timing out too much. We were timing out.
We ran out of our 3 timeouts.
This one was a very fun one. Here's Iris Garcia Baron with the War of the Week.
Welcome back to another War of the Week. We're back again at the SAC, and we have 2 cheer squads who are about to battle in a tug-of-war challenge. And the winner's gonna get a $50 gift card thanks to Southwest University. There can only be 1 winner. So let's get started over here at East Lake. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, we're East Lake Falcons, and we're ready to take the win tonight. Go Falcons!
And girls, you guys wanna cheer for that? Okay, so now we have East Lake. What about Pebble Hills? Pebble Hills, do you have anything you'd like to say?
We're Pebble Hills, and we're going to keep it 300.
And what about you girls? Anything to say? Cheer or anything? There we go. A little camera shy, it's okay. All right, you guys ready? Or are you going to tug a war too? All right, take your mark. Take your mark. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, it looks like Pebble Hills. Pebble Hills! Pebble Hills! Hold, 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 hold! Oh my God! Are you guys okay? Sisters! Sisters!
keeping it 300.
That was every single famous quote from the movie 300 with the "Ho, ho, ho."
There it was, yeah.
I thought it was like Gen Z slang that I'd never heard of, and I was like, wow, I'm getting old. But it's from a movie I hadn't seen, so we're good.
And Eastlake was okay.
Yeah,
you saw it take a time out. We made sure everybody was good on that.
Both teams fell. I'm concerned about everyone in that one. Well, hey, back to the highlights. District 1 4A Division 1 Riverside. Not a bye this week, but a big-time game tonight between the Bowie Bears and the Austin Panthers. 1-1, Bowie 2-0 in district play. They were riding a 7-game win streak. Panthers are up 43 3rd. Alan Mocha takes the hand up and punches it in for the first Bear touchdown. 14-9 Austin. So a very close game on our hands. Both teams wanting this to try and move up in the standings in District 1 4A. But what could happen? Well, Bowie are gonna
see the Austin Panther.
Man, he looks more ripped this week. Last week he looked fat. Now he's ripped.
Showing off
Bowie throws a bomb to Antonio Ontiveros, but picks off right there from Panthers. Andrew Andujo looks like that one would steal the game. Austin win it 14-9 in a very low-scoring, close game. District 1 4A.
That 7-game win streak for Bowie snapped at the hands of those Panthers today. Well, let's go ahead and keep it in the district here. See, San Elizario gets their first win in district play over the Irvin Rockets, 25-20. Irvin still winless in district play. We'll go to Fabens next, where it was the Wildcats versus the Lions in a District 1 4A Division 2 matchup. Beginning of the second quarter here, Carlton Ivy pushes through the defense for a Clint touchdown. As we'll see the Fabens cheerleaders cheering on those Wildcats. Fabens quarterback going to throw a pass, but it's going to get picked off by the Lions defense. I will take that there. And then Clint's Daniel Ponce coming up with his next highlight with the pass to Brock Botwell for the Lions touchdown. And Clint goes on to win and pick up a much-needed district win. Final score, 28-7.
Take a look at Mountain View and Monahans. Mountain View 1 and 2 on the season. Monahans looking to stay undefeated, and they would. They go 69-13 over Mountain View and move to 4-0.
And over to Anthony, we're on the road taking the Reagan Owls. They fell in this one in a close one, 46-41. Now Cathedral playing Savio on a neutral site in this next game.
Yeah, I think we're still trying. Oh yeah, we got the final
Savio up big over the Fighting Irish, 41-14. So looking to see what the final in that one is.
Meanwhile, Tornillo versus Alpine. Alpine shuts out Tornillo 43-0 right there.
So it is that time of the show where we bring in our youngest member of our team.
Just, I mean, Sam's pretty close to the same age as Zach.
You guys were aging me early in the show, but Zach.
Yeah, he ages all of us.
He ages all of us there. Here's Zach's dance splits, and I will, fair warning, I did take part in this one. And
There's some good moves.
You might want to.
Yeah. No, they're good. You got to stay and watch them. Come on.
Yeah, we need the confidence, Adrian. Come on.
Say, let's show it.
Welcome to Zach's Dance Split, sponsored by Charles Clark Nissan and Charles Clark Infinity. Zach, put that!
Get excited, come on. Yeah!
Man, Bobby, those guys know how to get down!
Wow!
Oh, back to you! Hooks for that!
So great, Adrian, to see you hanging out with your son right there.
Again, he is not my son, but he's a great kid.
Contrary to prior beliefs.
Yes,
I mean, that video, though, it really, I mean, you had the same moves.
We did. He's got some moves. He was showing them to me, and yes, I still get asked if he's my son, so I guess we should just reinforce that every week. That yes, he's
I'm just feeding into
It's like when I say I don't actually pick who wins the Blitz picks. You have to say, Zach is not my child.
Well, Zach is not my child, but we can say the Blitz picks are coming up after the break. A chance to win a $50 Visa gift card. That's coming up. Stay with us.
25-year truck driver. I've been driving for Rivas Enterprises for 6. I have 1 million miles. I'm home every weekend. The benefits and the respect that you get in this company is outstanding. If you're looking for a place to call home, call Rivas Enterprises.
Don't wait until 2024 and enroll now at Southwest University. Enroll by November 3rd to start your new career in the medical field today. Serve your community and enroll in nursing, sonography, or dental programs. We offer flexible schedules and short terms so you can finish faster. Develop your future and acquire the skills to succeed in the nursing, sonography, or dental fields. For more information, visit us at southwestuniversity.edu. Last day to enroll is November 3rd. Southwest University. Start today.
Zach's Dance Blitz, a high school mascot dance-off every Friday night during the Borderland Blitz at 10:35 p.m. Sponsored by Charlie Clark Nissan Infinity.
Is your stimulus money running out? No worries. Mesa Pawn and Jewelry has quick loans for up to $1,400. We also buy and sell a variety of items including guns, gold and jewelry, electronics, and musical instruments. And for a quick loan, come to Mesa Pawn and Jewelry, 6238 North Mesa, next to Avilas.
I'm a 25-year truck driver. I've been driving for Rivas Enterprises for 6. I have 1 million miles. I'm home every weekend. The benefits and the respect that you get in this company is outstanding. If you're looking for a place to call home, call Rivas Enterprises.
Got one more highlight to get to in New Mexico.
Yeah, let's take you to Artesia now. The 8-1 Bulldogs hosting the 4-5 Mayfield. Looks like it's pretty dark right here on this video. So let's just show you the score instead here. Artesia go on to dominate Mayfield here, 43-7. Mayfield having a pretty tough season and go at it. But Artesia, a very good team and always have been.
Apologies on that. We had some technical difficulties. You might have had to adjust your contrast on your TV to see the highlights of that one. But we'll work on those. Well, we'll go to the SAC. Let's go ahead and recap the games from last night. This was an important one. Pebble Hills taking on Eastlake. Pebble Hills needed a win in this game to clinch a playoff spot. And yeah, they did just that. Although right here, Gael Ochoa is going to get picked off by Eastlake in the end zone. In the end of this one, Spartans go on to win this game by a final score. Here we go. Looking, the final score in this one was 31-21. It was all defense in the first half of the game. In the second half, they lit up the scoreboard, and Pebble Hills gets the win and secures a playoff spot.
Yeah, massive stuff. And then thinking to the other game of the night, it was Socorro and Coronado. Coronado with a good solid win, as you would expect, over Socorro in this one. Final score, after we see a couple touchdowns from Coronado taking it in there, 42-7. The Thunderbirds get the win and keep their playoff hopes just slightly alive. A lot has to play out for them, but winning is what they have to do to make sure it happens. But they need some help from some other teams around the Borderland.
Yeah, there's a slim chance, but you know, you never say never. There's still one more week.
Never say die.
One more week left to go in the regular season. But for now, we're going to send things over to Sam for the winner of the Blitz pick.
Well, guys, we got a lot of great submissions this week, and I want to shout out this one before we get to the winner. This one from Catherine Posey Sarinana, shouting out her grandson Marcus and all the other seniors for Pebble Hills. It's senior night for a lot of the schools as we wind down the season, so congrats.
And Marcus Torres, number 14 for Pebble Hills, the son of Mark Torres, is always open. Gael Ochoa finds him constantly.
Playmaker.
And over here, one Friday football, full moon. What more can you ask for? You know, Rachel, I think you said just about the same thing a few minutes ago.
I love a full moon.
But then here is our winner from Ernesto Adame of Chaparral versus Santa Teresa. Some great Friday Night Light picks. So Ernesto, I'll be calling you pretty quickly to let you know that you won the $50 gift card. Thanks so much for everyone who submitted your Blitz picks.
Congratulations to Ernesto.
Yeah, we love that. We really do love that. Well, guys, Blitzy has been talking to me for a while now.
At least he talks to you.
Yeah, he likes me. But he's our mascot here at age 7, but he's been telling me, you know, he's been yearning for more lately. You know, maybe to be a player for a day. So, or even full time. So today I thought, you know what, let's see if a career change is really in order, and let's put you to the test. So he said goodbye to his mascot friends and joined the lads. You can see him warming up here, also hanging out with Eduardo Carrillo right before the tunnel run out. And he was taking good care of him, even brought him out in the tunnel just to show him exactly what it's like out here. This is what it feels like when you run onto a field, you get that emotion, you get to jump with your mates, it's all going on. Hangs out on the bench after some tough times, but guys, eventually he realized that it's all a bit too much. So he decided to, you know, hang back with his mascot friend and just continue to be a mascot, because he realized he doesn't really have the strength and the power for it all, but you know, he tried.
And he was wearing his matching blue jerseys with the Canutillo, so he fit right in.
He had an experience. You know, sometimes we got to test things out to see if it's really for us, and he realized that being here with us, our mascot, it's for him.
It's the best, but at least he got the experience. That's all that matters. Well, after the break, we're going to have a recap of all the scores and also look back at the sweet play of the week winner from week 9. That's after the break.
Did you know Western Tech offers programs in the business field? That's right. Learn those business fundamentals from a college who's been around for over 50 years. Now's your time. Start or complete your bachelor's degree or take your game to the next level with an MBA. We're just not any technical school. We're Western Tech, and we mean business. Visit westerntech.edu and get started on your future today. Don't give up, rise up at Western Tech. College for the real world.
Hey kids, don't read about cool adventures on your phone. Come to the El Paso Zoo and live the adventure. It's the perfect cure for boredom because there are so many amazing things to see and do. Get up close and personal and see some exotic animals. Climb up a 16-foot high treehouse and enjoy some epic views. The Wildlife Amphitheater lets you engage with animals in a whole new way. Or take the Copper Canyon Challenge to test your rope climbing skills. Have the time of your life and live the adventure with the whole family. Now at the El Paso Zoo.
A person can feel worthless. A person can feel alone. A person can feel not loved. A person can feel not part of a group. It's a lot of things that can drive someone to suicide. Every day you wake up, God put his breath in your lungs and a beat in your heart. As long as you continue to wake up with a breath in your lungs and beat in your heart, you woke up on purpose with a purpose. So there's no reason why you need to commit suicide, because you have a purpose in life. If you woke up, that means your job is not done yet.
Love hearing those bands. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sweet play of the week winner from week 9 real quick here. Here was the winning play. It goes to the Andrews Eagles. Quarterback Jaden Urbina drops a dime to Eric Blutcher, who has to fight off a defender as he dives into the end zone. We'll see another look at it in slow motion action. And yeah, so the sweet play deserves some sweet cupcakes courtesy of Albertsons. I caught up with the Eagles earlier this week to deliver the goods. Coach Taylor wanted the team to wait until after practice to eat the cupcakes, but he allowed Jaden and Eric to get the first dibs before everyone else, and of course, taste those tasty treats.
Man, if I were other players, I'd be like tapping them super hard in practice after that.
Well, congratulations to those Andrews Eagles. They got a big win again today against Burgess to keep their playoff hopes alive. Let's go ahead and recap the scores from Week 10, starting with the Eastwood Troopers getting the win over Franklin 38-31. The Troopers outright district champs of District 1-6A with that win. Montwood back on the winning track, beating El Dorado 41-21. Parkland over Hanks 38-34. Bel Air over Horizon 54-0. Del Valle over Isleta 27-16. And Canutillo all over Jefferson 51-0.
In some other scores, Andrews, as we just mentioned, over Burgess 28-24. Chapin over El Paso 66-7. San Eli getting a win over Irvin 25-20. Austin over Bowie 14-9. Clint up above Fabens 28-7. Monaghan's getting a dub over Mountain View 69-13.
And to cap off the scores for the evening, Regan County over Anthony in a close one, 46-41. Alpine all over Tornillo, 43-0. Centennial taking down Las Cruces, 30-23. Artesia taking down Mayfield, 43-7. Deming in a close contest over Gadsden, 12-10. And Savio taking down the Cathedral Fighting Irish, 41-14.
And finally, these games from Thursday night, Pebble Hills, Coronado, Alamogordo, and Santa Teresa, all winners on Thursday night. Well, that's going to put a bow on Week 10 of the Borderland Blitz. New Mexico is going to be talking playoffs. We'll do the pairings, have that for you over the weekend. While here in Texas, we still got one more week left.
Big week.
Legs 11, folks. We're into Week 11 now.
Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week for week number 11.
Thank you for watching. ABC 7 News is now available on any of these streaming services, as well as the KVIA News and KVIA Weather and Traffic apps.